Hello friends, welcome to the farm.
Today is sweet corn day. We're going to be picking a bunch for the farm stand as well as freezing some for the family.
Come and join us. All right, we're going to pick some corn this morning. Before you get into the corn though, you have to be dressed for the job. We pick the corn early, and when it's early on the farm, it means it's wet. And this corn is really wet. So by the time you're done, you're going to be soaking wet. So you might as well put on long sleeves, and I got my farm boots on, so I'm good to go. All right, out of the corn, let's, on the edge here, it's easy to show you. Here's one that's ready. Look, the silk is all, it's not only brown, but it's dried up, ready to go. And I'm just gonna pick this one here. And the easiest way to pick it is just to push it down and then pull it right up. And it's good to go. So it's a good size ear here. We try to pick ours when the kernels are a little bit smaller. Our ears are usually a little bit smaller too, but it can get a really nice sweet corn. But, well, that one's a little bigger, maybe a bigger kernel than we like to see. We just got back from vacation, and if we were here, we'd probably picked it a couple days ago, but this is really good. Yeah, you can see as you push with the, you can see it just breaks, and the milky, look at that. Some translucent, milky, really soft. And if you really want to know if it's good or not, you just in the field. Oh, that one's really good. This is going to be excellent corn. So don't be afraid to bite in your corn. I wouldn't recommend doing it at the grocery store to pick them, but out in the field here, we can do anything we want. So let's get ready to, we're going to get a bag. We're just going to walk through, get soaking wet, and start loading up on the corn. Okay, earlier we showed you the basic way to pick corn, which is basically grab it, pull it all the way down, pull it off. Now here's a more advanced method for those of you who are going to pick a lot of corn. And I wouldn't recommend doing this for kids in the field who have never done it before. But all we do is we grab the ear, twist it and push down, and there you go. One motion. Twist, push down, drop it in the bucket. Advanced theory.
All right, so we got the corn picked, husked, and cut off the cobs. Now here I do things a little bit differently. I don't blanch my corn. 2 years ago we did an experiment. I did it the typical way, blanching it and freezing it, but I did a different experiment using brine, where you just put the corn in the bag and you pour brine over it and freeze it like that. And it was better. Every time we went to eat corn, we could tell which one it was, if it was one we had cooked or if it's one that was in the brine, because the brine was better. So I will be brining all of it this year, because it is by far.
Cooked, it was just blanched.
Yeah, a lot of people just blanch it. Some people blanch it on the cob and then cut it off. Some people cut it off the cob, then blanch it. But I'm not going to have to blanch it at all. And it tasted really like fresh corn.
And it's easier, right?
It's much easier.
Okay.
So it's a win-win-win. So I'm going to do a bunch of quart bags. I'm going to do some with 2 cups in and some with 4 cups. So we have, you know, if we have big meals, we have big bags ready. And once I get them all measured out and know how many cups I have, then I will know how much brine to make. So now it's just a bunch of scooping corn in the bags and seeing what we have.
And this is a super sweet variety, which is a new variety called Bodacious.
Bodacious corn.
Isn't that cool?
I'm just excited to have corn because last year we did not have our irrigation quite installed. So last year we got basically no corn, none. So I'm excited to have some corn in the freezer again. Good corn.
So you put it in the bag and then you do the brine later? You don't?
Yep.
Okay.
And I think it's a half a cup of brine for 2 cups of corn. So the smaller bags will get a half a cup of brine, the larger bags will get a whole cup. But once I know how much corn I have, how many bags, I'll know how much brine to make.
We don't know how many dozen here.
No, we just picked. We actually didn't pick all of it.
Oh no, it's just a small part of it.
This is a part of it.
Yeah, because most of it, frankly, is going to go out to our farm stand.
Yeah, and we would have actually probably picked some of it a few days ago, but like you said earlier, we just got back from vacation. This is now Monday. We got back on Saturday, and the corn is ready, a lot of it. So if you see what happens when you go on vacation.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody need zucchini?
Everybody has their zucchini story, isn't it? Anybody
They do
who
grow
gardens.
fast. And some of my neighbors and stuff did pick some zucchinis, but just more than they could use, and they went crazy. So I have baseball bat zucchinis. But they're still fine for making zucchini bread. So we're gonna have zucchini bread. I might make lemon zucchini. There's all kinds of stuff I'm gonna make. That's probably gonna be a future video. I'm actually gonna try mock pineapple with zucchini. It sounds interesting. I have enough, I can definitely experiment.
And I think, were you going to freeze dry some of it to do flour?
Yes, I want to freeze dry it, and my daughter-in-law wants to turn it into flour and see how that works. They say you can add up to 1/3 zucchini flour with regular flour, and you don't notice the taste change at all. So we'll see. We're going to do all kinds of stuff with zucchini because I actually have a bunch more plants that I planted before vacation that will be producing any day now. So we're going to have a lot of zucchini. And I do sell it at the farm stand, but I don't sell all of it. So we will have zucchini to play with.
Now we like corn a certain way, don't we? Usually, typically a little bit smaller ears and smaller kernels, really tender and sweet.
And if for corn on the cob, when we do it in the house, we usually just microwave it with the husk on it. It kind of steams itself in the husk. And then when you peel it, all the silk comes right off. It's really good that way. But my favorite is to husk it, and then I brush it with a mixture of butter, lime juice, and chipotle chili pepper, and salt. And he grills it.
Yeah, that's excellent.
We might have to have some of that for dinner.
And if you pick some one day and you don't get to eat it that day, of course, eating corn the same day you cook it, preferably only a few hours away. But if you have to wait till the next day, then that's ideal to do it on the grill.
And I mean, if you've never had corn that was just picked, just like any other vegetable, when it's fresh, there's a noticeable difference. It's good.
Particularly with corn because it's all about the sweetness.
Yes, and this is very sweet. Our grandkids actually came and helped us husk, and they were testing some of the ears. And they gave it a thumbs up.
And your chickens are eating the leftovers right now.
They like picking any little, morsels of corn off the cob. So they are very happy right now.
So how many do you have in here already?
I don't know. I haven't counted yet. I'm just scooping away.
Wow, you're making some progress.
We ended up with 28 bags with 2 cups of corn and 11 bags with 4 cups of corn. So you add that all together, that's 100 cups of corn.
Nice.
Now the brine, it's a half cup for every 2 cups. So do the math there. I needed 25 cups of brine. I'm actually doing 30. I'd rather have extra brine than run out somehow. And the brine is simply water, sugar, and salt. And since I tripled it, it's actually 30 cups of water, 1/3 of a cup of sugar, and 1/6 of a cup of salt. And you just heat it until everything melts, and you pour it in the bags. Easy peasy. So I have the water in. There goes the sugar. And I'll eyeball 1/2 of a 1/3. And 1/6 of a cup of salt. It should melt pretty quickly. Now, one of the hardest things for me is going to be shuffling things around in the freezer and making room for all this corn. We've been freezing all the strawberries, blackberries, raspberries, everything else that's come in this season, green beans, peas. So it's not very organized right now, so I'm gonna have to organize it and make room for all the corn.
Yeah, that should absorb pretty quickly. We're used to making sugar water for the bees.
Yeah.
And that's like a 2-to-1.
Yeah, this is a lot different than what you make for
syrup.
the bees.
Yeah.
So yeah, the hard part's pretty much over.
Now, how warm is that water?
We checked it, it was 120 degrees, but however warm it has to be just to melt the sugar and the salt. That's all you need.
Dissolve it?
Yeah, dissolve it, yeah, not melt.
All right, let's see this close. What it's amazing is the water just disappears, doesn't it?
Yep, these are the 4-cup bags first. And what I do is I just pour it in, and when I seal them up, I'm gonna kind of squish it a little bit to get the brine kind of to go more evenly in the bag. So that's it for the 4 cups. And I'm using a 1-cup measuring. Because remember, a 1/2 cup for every 2 cups of corn. These have 4 cups of corn, so it's 1 cup of brine. And I'm gonna have these measurements in the description below.
That's a lot of fast math there.
Okay, like I squished all the air out.
Let's see that up close.
And I'm just gonna kind of, there. 1 bag of corn, ready to go.
Well, so what would you say as far as time-wise, because you've done it several different methods over the years. I mean, this is definitely the fastest. But
Not having to boil the corn, not having to blanch the corn, saves a ton of time.
well, and then letting it cool down enough so you can handle it.
I can remember my mom doing corn. She hated that day. I can remember she would cut it off the cobs and then blanch it. And I remember seeing cookie sheet upon cookie sheet of cut off corn on the floor with fans blowing on it, cooling off. I mean, when we did corn, we did a lot. My mom and her 2 sisters all did it together. My dad actually grew the corn. He was raised on a farm. You might be able to take the boy out of the farm, but you can't take the farm out of the boy. So he farmed until he wasn't able to. He grew corn.
So he was a professional machinist by trade, but did farming because he liked it.
Well, he liked collecting antique tractors. He would find dilapidated, old, beat-up tractors in the middle of a field somewhere, bring it back to the shop, and restore it to brand new. He had, what, a Minneapolis Moline,
Yeah,
a Shepherd.
Oliver.
I didn't pay attention to that stuff back then. Now,
Yeah, I wish I would have asked more questions
Yeah.
and learned more.
yeah, if Dad could see me now,
Yeah,
he would be surprised and he would be pleased.
yeah. You know, so I was thinking you have a very experienced viewer group, probably done a lot of corn over the years.
More corn
Some
than
of
I've ever
them
done.
might think that not blanching it might be corn heresy. So what would you say?
Well, and that's why last 2 years ago I did the experiment. I did the traditional way, and I thought I'll do some with the brine just to experiment and see what happens. And it worked. If I hadn't tested it, I wouldn't have believed it, but it worked perfectly. It tasted delicious, and it's so much easier.
And we had corn over the whole year,
Yeah.
so it kept
Yeah,
well.
yeah, it did just fine. So, and when I go to cook it then, all I do is I usually steam it. I just actually put the water in the steam pot, pour the corn into the basket and the whatever leftover brine just filters down through. I don't drain it or anything because it's not that much sugar or salt. It's a tiny little bit, but it's enough that it preserves it and keeps it good in the freezer. So we're gonna have corn all winter long.
Sounds great.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
So thanks for joining me on our corn day, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.